So many beautiful faces, and I love that you're all here. Tammy just spoke on the ruling class, and who are the ruling class? They're these individuals responsible for the divide and conquer tactic that predates any party, predates anything that we know and can read in the history book. Back when there was slavery, there were poor white people as well, living in poverty, didn't have enough food to feed their kids. But because they were given a higher social standing, they could always say, well, at least I'm not the Negro. And that was enough to keep them divided against a ruling class of people who owned the land, owned black people, owned human beings, from cooperating and ending slavery a lot sooner than they should have. To everybody here, to people all around the country, my brothers, my sisters, black and white, who have been tear gassed, hit with rubber bullets, brutalized, and mischaracterized. To those people, I want to say thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I actually do want to say thank you. I want to say thank you. And there's a reason for that. It's because this isn't the first time we've wanted to end state violence. There were riots in Chicago in 1919. And in those riots, we were promised equity of housing, equity of opportunity. There were riots in the 1930s and the 1940s in Harlem. And at those riots, we were promised the same thing. And in the civil rights movement in the 1960s, we were promised a commission that was going to address police reform, ending state violence, and equity. That has not happened. And what I am tired of is asking for the same things over and over again. My mom asked for it, my grandparents asked for it, their parents asked for it, and we aren't getting it. And that is because in a country of over 300 million people, it takes thousands and millions of us to get legislature to move. But those few hundred people have all of our politicians on speed dial. They have lobbyists, they can sit in there just to make a phone call. That has to stop because we have to make demands. It is no coincidence that these things are going on. It's all by design, and we all know that, and I think we all realize that in one way or another. We have over 10,000 homeless veterans, even more, that are in need of mental health services. My grandfather was a veteran, and I'm pretty sure he was all the way at the bottom of the list when it came to health. Yes, black people are veterans too. Patriotism cannot be monopolized by one group of people. Patriotism is what we can all represent together. Because my grandfather, my uncle, and their brothers were in the military. And yet we pay the most, and most of our tax dollars go towards the military. There is a reason that despite the greatest productivity in history, we have CEOs making 337 times more than the employees, when back in the 70s, they only made about 20 times more. Why is that? It's by design. It's to keep us at the bottom, and it's to keep us divided. There's a reason for all of this. There's a reason why we have millions of people kicked off of health care because they aren't employed. That is a sin. That is a sin. And even prior to this pandemic, we had up to 60,000 people die every year due to inadequate health care, even when they were paying a premium every month. That is true. That happened. That's continuing to happen. And even when all this is over, even when they give you a minuscule check to say, go about your business, people will still die. And this problem will not be fixed. So we are here to make demands. And what I say to all of you and to everyone is that we want results. Why do we want results? Because I try my best to consider everybody family, even people who don't agree with me. I try my best to do that. And I'm not willing to sacrifice their lives and for it all to be for nothing. I don't want to look back, and I don't want to say all those people in the 40s and 50s, their lives were for nothing. It's nothing just to bring us to square one. So we need to sharpen our message. We need to hold all our politics accountable. What does that mean? It means more than just protesting. It means legislative policy. It means going to their office. It means letting them know to demand, and you can make those demands met. You have those demands met by doing what we need to do with state legislature and their affiliate organizations. We have the Poor People's Campaign. We have Put People First, advocating for health care as a human right. If anyone's heard of police reform, you want police reform, and you need police reform, just like we all do. There's Campaign Zero. There are a set of demands and guidelines that we all can follow. Protesting is not just about marching, it's about organizing, it's about what you're going to do after. We saw what happened when they cracked the heads of people on Occupy Wall Street due to predatory behavior. When they disbanded, nothing happened, and nothing will happen if we disband and go home and do nothing else. What we have to do is use this to make connections, organize, follow up, and make sure we make that change happen. Thank you.